Hello, my name is Chuck Householder. I'm the Vice President of Channel Development with AEON. Today what I'd like to do is take you on a brief journey inside our studios here in Wallingford, Connecticut to show you how our sales presenters are conducting sales meetings for our affiliates all over the world. What you're going to see in a moment is the inside workings of the studio as a mock meeting takes place in a boardroom, which could virtually be anywhere. You're going to identify some of the tools that are available for our sales presenters that allow them to present our products in a way that is informative, but also allows for a necessary amount of questions to be asked to determine the needs that the client has and then to present our solutions. So what I'd like to do now is to turn your attention to our studio as I walk you through the different components of it, and then you'll see exactly how the magic happens. So what you're seeing here is a depiction of our studio. For today's filming, I'm only going to turn the lights on briefly, but for every presentation, there's a simple light kit that goes around that illuminates the different sales presenter, whatever environment they're in. So that way it translates in perfect clarity over the wow box to the audience that's watching. Now what we have here are three screens. This first screen to my left is a live depiction of everything that is taking place, and it shows up in three different ways. The first way is I can see a large image of myself, which will allow me to make sure that I'm coming in centered as well as clear and focused. I can also, on this screen, bring up details regarding the call, which will let me know if there was any packet loss or any jitters, and to verify that it's coming in full HD. And as I could see just now, we are coming in full HD, and there is no packet loss. The other option is I can bring up just an entire view of the office I'm presenting to, which would allow me to see in a larger format everything going on in that office. The mode that I'm in now is the preferred mode, and that is one in where, as a sales presenter, I'm able to see myself at all times, but I can also see the office. And I can see everything that is taking place. I can see, for example, as the person on my right puts his hand over his forehead to consider whether or not it's the right decision for him. Or the person on the left who's in rapt attention. I can see as far as the back of the office where the door is, the various pictures on the wall, and also a plant in there. So this allows me to see in real time everything that's taking place. The beauty of this is, like any good salesperson, our sales presenters are trained to be able to recognize nonverbal cues that lets us know if they are fully engaged. We can also match up with the client's body language. We can match up with their tone of voice. For example now, the person I'm presenting to is looking around the room, giving a sign of boredom and time, so I'll try to keep the rest of this video short. In the center screen, I have access to our teleprompter. The teleprompter allows our sales presenters to do a uniform presentation every time. Plus, in addition to keeping it uniform, it provides a crutch to make sure that they stay on point and are able to deliver the type of value proposition that our affiliates talked about before the meeting was set. And the teleprompter is very easy to operate. For example, it begins with the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chuck Householder. Before we begin, Jason, could you please introduce me to the other person in the room with you today?
This is my colleague, Mike.
Mike, great to meet with you, and I want to thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. To start, what I'd like to do is give you a brief overview of the AEON solution, and then I'd like to go into some details about our product line, and more importantly, how we can meet your specific needs. How does that sound?
Sounds great. Let's do it.
Awesome. Before we begin, why don't you tell me specifically why you decided to meet today? What was your agenda and your criteria so I can be sure to match up with that? And at this point, we get the ball rolling. The model that we use to conduct a sales presentation is based on an acronym called EQUIP. The first 5 to 10 minutes is basically where we educate the prospect on the value that we bring. And to do that, we use this other screen here. This screen shows me everything that the client is seeing on the wow box. For example, on one side of the wow box right now is a PowerPoint that corresponds with the teleprompter and the scripted presentation. On the other side is the image of myself. I can see everything that they can see, however, they cannot see what I bring up on this screen, which means that I can go to other presentations, bring up schematics, PDFs, whatever I need to make this presentation a success. And then easily I can toggle back and forth so I know what's going on during the presentation. So during the first 5 to 10 minute overview, I describe our history, our products and the different product categories, and then I bring up specific products, but I don't talk in detail about the specific products. Instead, these slides are designed for the needs analysis, which makes up the bulk of the presentation. And getting back to our acronym EQUIP, this stands for Question and Understand. So here on this slide, or the next slide that goes into telecom, the sales presenter would be asking specific questions such as, who do you currently have for your telecommunication needs now? How long have you had them? How many lines do you have? How well is it working? What are some of the problems that you're having? What are some of the improvements you're looking to make? And just these basic questions opens the door to the needs analysis. And of course, as you can see perhaps on the right side of this slide, we have plenty of anecdotal experience and credibility material to help drive this home. Now, a typical presentation lasts just 45 minutes, at which point the bulk of it was based on asking them questions and determining what their needs are, and then reinforcing how we could help. The final part of this presentation is the I and P of the acronym EQUIP. I means to implement, and implement is where we discuss exactly the next steps and how we can integrate our solution with their company, and then P is the proposal. And the very cool thing is, via this computer here, I can go ahead and bring up the proposal, put in the information, and then send it directly to the WOW box, wherever the affiliate is located. They download it to a removable hard drive, hand it off to the client, and we are ready to rock and roll. At the end of all of our presentations, there is a brief 3-minute teleprompter script for how we present Time to Save. And Time to Save is a value-add philanthropic organization that I know you've learned a lot about, and that's where it ties in. It is also during the Time to Save presentation that we're able to prepare that script. Now, one thing that you cannot see on these screens, which happens on every sales call and is communicated live right over here on this particular screen using a messaging system, is we have a trained sales engineer who monitors every single call and communicates with our sales presenter. So if a question is asked, the sales presenter doesn't know, a really highly detailed question that might be specific to that client's needs, the sales engineer can answer that. They can also help collaborate on creating that proposal. And that's it in a nutshell. On the other side of this particular studio is the connectivity to the WOW box itself, where the audience resides, and you'll be able to see that as the next part of this video presentation. Again, my name is Chuck Helsler. I am available at any time to answer your questions, and I want to thank you for considering our business opportunity and for joining me on this presentation today.